welcome back to Black Belt Gamers. This is Spoofy here. I know I said I was going to start some Spyro or some Crash, but I kind of wanted to throw one quick episode in here of my favorite genre game to play. I like shoot 'em ups or space shooters. Like way back in the day, you'd have like Gradius or R-Type or Raiden, all of those. Space Invaders if you go really far back, Asteroids, but I more grew up with a more modernized arcade scene where they had more defined like ship features and things like that, more game mechanics, better power-ups. It wasn't so much just get the high score type of thing. There was other mechanics at play. So this one is Crimson Clover World Explosion. A little bit more beginner friendly, so if you're looking to try a shoot 'em up of some kind, this one is an easy recommendation. There's plenty more out there. There's hundreds of thousands of shoot 'em up games these days, but as far as some of them being easy to play versus others, this is definitely on the easier spectrum. And the way that you can play, so novice mode, this is really beginner friendly, but there are still ways to play on a mode like this and experience kind of the higher difficulties the game has to offer. Or you can just start out like regular arcade where it's pretty difficult just from the get-go, and then like this one says, altered gameplay and things like that. So if you've played old school Gradius, there's like the power-up bar on the bottom, so you can get options, shields, and all that stuff. That's what a range does in this game. That's not always what it does in every other game. But just for this playthrough, because I haven't played in a while, we're just going to start on Novice. But the mode that I like to play in here, because there's original mode, which just traditional features, standard power-ups, standard bombs, time attack we don't have access to, unlimited mode we don't have access to, but this is the most difficult. I like to play boost mode, and what this game mode does is you essentially, the game slowly increases in difficulty depending on your performance, and that's regardless of what's happening. But when you play with boost mode, it ramps up that difficulty faster, and the longer you keep the timer going, the higher your score multiplier gets. So my goal is to get to boost mode and try to maintain it as long as possible. Once we get towards the second stage or the third stage, you'll start to see just how much of a speed variance there is between your normal bullets that happen right here at the beginning where things are hardly going to be shooting yet, and the speed that they will be further down the line once we get boost activated. And there are other ways to play, like not score hunting to keep the difficulty low so you can progress farther and see what enemies do what. And right now I'm building up that meter on the top right, and once that gets full, I'm going to enter into boost mode, and then things are going to start progressively getting more difficult. And once that gets full, you can fill it up a second time and get to double break, which will power you up even more and ramp up the difficulty even faster. And at any point, if I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I can drop a bomb, which will lower the difficulty back down, but also I lose all of my power-up status that I currently have. And right now, it's pretty straightforward how you play. But essentially, these games, they seem difficult, but it's essentially just rapid-fire complex pattern manipulations. So the more I move, the more chaotic things will get, because basically everything has a bullet pattern that it fires, whether it's targeted directly at me or it's a specific wave of bullets that it shoots in a certain pattern. So certain enemies you want to prioritize over others, and then there are enemies that you can blow up or destroy that erase the bullets on the screen. So if you're score hunting, you let the screen get chaotic and you leave the most bullets on the screen as you can before you blow up the screen clearing enemy, and then that'll get you a ton of points. And another way to kind of control the patterns is you sit in one spot as long as possible so that all the bullets are following one certain pattern, and then you move just ever so slightly out of the way. And the other thing with these games too is it's not my entire ship that's the hitbox. You see the little glowing yellow dot? That tiny center of that is my hitbox, so it lets you thread the needle between some of these bullet patterns. But even though your hitbox is that small, sometimes it's pretty tough to not get hit. But I'm not doing like super score hunting or anything like that. I'm mainly just trying to get through the game without using any statistics. So that's my whole goal. And usually once you beat a boss, it's going to drop a set of pickups for you. You can either increase your star count, increase your meter, all that. But I usually just always take the 1-up. Because that's the hardest resource to get in a game like this. So we're just going to keep progressing with 1-ups until it doesn't give us that option. So far we've maintained break mode for 2.5 minutes. And now the bullets are going quite a bit faster than they were at the end of the last stage. And we have substantially more bullets on the screen now too. And usually there's just a bunch of popcorn enemies, all the small stuff that dies relatively quick, but they just litter the screen with bullets. So those are kind of your score hunter options, and then when these bigger enemies show up, you want to get on them and focus them so that you can take them down quick, because they're the ones that shoot more complex bullet patterns. Like this guy right here, I want to take him out quick, because he's the one that gets rid of all the bullets. So if I could take him out mid one of his shots, then I'll get a lot more points from all the bullets that get cleared and they turn into stars. So that's your way of score hunting in a game like this. So there I just got up to 50,000 stars, so I got another 1-up, so I have 4 lives now. And the other thing that is majorly why these games are so difficult when you're playing on the super hard and brutal difficulties is they generally have some hidden clear mechanism for what is actually defined as beating the game. Kind of like old Contra had, so right there I'm getting kind of trapped, so we'll drop a bomb, clear it out. Now we're fighting a mid-boss, but since we just dropped the difficulty, his bullets are substantially slower. So but my whole goal is I want to try and survive as long as possible without ever losing a life, but I do expect once I get to the last couple stages that I'm probably going to lose a few lives. It just happens. It's the nature of these games. But yeah, once we get to the last stage, I'll explain that kind of hidden mechanic a little bit more in depth. But because when I was originally discovering some of these super hard games 15 years ago, I came across a YouTube video called The World's Hardest Video Game Boss, and I saw a Japanese-only shoot 'em up. It was the first game that I ever imported. So I waited like 3 months for it to finally show up. And yeah, I've never beaten that game, and I probably never will. It requires a certain amount of dedication and learning that for a game that's only 45 minutes long, you can spend months trying to master that thing before you ever will even get past the first couple of stages, let alone beat the entire game and fulfill the requirements to actually get the clear. I've done it on the slightly easier arranged difficulty that they have in that game on Ultra mode, but that's not truly beating the game on its original modes. So, like, these games are ultra challenging, and that's why I like them. Like, Dark Souls can't hold a candle to something like this, because there's checkpoints in that. This game is, it's 45 minutes of, well, maybe 45 minutes, I don't know if it's quite 45 minutes. It's that long of perfect gameplay mandatory. There's no checkpoints, there's no, I climb the hurdle, I beat the boss, there is, I either get there, or I have to do the whole thing again. So it's got that old, like, Nintendo hard kind of thing going for it. You either beat it or you don't. You either can beat it or you can't. There's no, I'll figure it out eventually. You're either going to do it or you're not. Still able to kind of chatter while we play a little bit. We have to focus a bit, but these first couple of bosses, even with the difficulty ramped up, they're still not to that point where it needs 100% of my focus yet. If this was a game I hadn't played yet, it probably would, and I probably would have died a couple times by now. It's like playing any games. You gotta learn what shoots what and kind of figure out the patterns a little bit. But as far as basic shoot 'em up strategies go, you want to micro move. You don't move around like this. If I do that too much, I'll start losing control of all these bullets. So you just move in micro doses. Control the chaos as much as you can. Because if I was moving really erratically right there, I probably would have sent too many of them bullets all over the place and set myself up with basically trapping myself and leaving me no out. So you should always have a little bit of room to figure out where you want to go and have an escape path. But if you do get yourself trapped, that's generally what you save the bombs for. And I like playing on a mode like this where the difficulty can ramp up to what it is on the hardest difficulty. And then you get that little bit of respite when you use your bomb finally. So here's our screen clear right here. So yeah, some enemies you have to figure out the position to sit where you can fight them, and other enemies you need to find the pattern to avoid. Like these are all the popcorn enemies, so I'm just slightly inching myself to the side to avoid the bullets. There's my path through, and there's a break in the bullets. So you just slightly weave yourself back and forth. Try to keep control of the screen as much as you can. And I do like this boost mode because it gives you get to keep experiencing like the stronger bullet patterns, so you can fight these enemies just that little bit. Oh, there's a death. God dang it, I was too focused on the points. So, but that's how quick they can happen. You just lose your focus for that tiny split second. Boost mode activated again, or break. Hoping to keep the lives lost to a minimum so that I can actually show off this whole game. It's a strange like type of focus for a game like this. Like you would think that I'm not really paying attention to where my ship is, but I am both paying attention to where my ship is and watching the bottom of the screen at the same time. I can't really explain how I'm able to do it. It's just a skill that I've either had forever or I've learned it from playing these types of games for such a long time. But I have kind of the capacity to pay attention to both my ship and the top of the screen at the same time when I'm doing this. So I know roughly about where I am in relation to these bullets, and it just feels like this weird flow state that I'm in, that I can see more than I feel like I should be able to do. I don't know if it's something to do with good peripheral vision, or something to do with just my neurological capacity, but whatever I'm able to do, it really helps with playing games like this. I probably didn't need to use that bomb there, but I would rather be safer and try to maintain. A life is more important than using a bomb if you have a resource mechanic to manage in a game like this. Because bombs are usually easy to refill through points or things like that, but lives are very finite. This game is relatively generous on lives as far as the shoot 'em up goes. Because you can get one back through getting stars and points, and you can also get one back at the end of the stage. moving. Now I need to weave between the beam and between the both at the same time. We got through that pretty quick. Like that. Oh, I thought I got around it. That sucks. 2 lives lost in this stage. We get 1 back here. I'll get 1 more life at 250,000 stars. And we got 2 more stages left. One of which I can get a life from after beating the boss. So I have roughly 7 more lives to work with for trying to get through this without using a continue. That's the whole goal, is to have back. Once we get through this, maybe I'll go do the time attack thing, or what's called the ultimate challenge, because it's shorter, but it shows off the actual kind of difficulty this game can have, or a game like this can have. But even relatively speaking, the hardest this game has to offer doesn't really come close to... Oh man, I should have bombed. Doesn't really come close to some of those super hard, like... Toho or Death Smiles or the other like real true bullet hell shooters. If we keep bleeding lives this much, might have to stop chit-chatting and focus. The enemies coming in at us here. Trying to get caught off guard by those. Life back. There we go. Keep that timer rolling, keep them points coming. Ooh, we can actually get 1 more life at 450,000 stars. shot you can do on this boss. Blowing up his turrets, getting bullet clears. Nice. Do that one nice and easy. So 6 possibly lives for sure. You might get that last life on the next stage. But we're going to have to do some pretty good star farming, because to get up to 450,000 is quite a bit to do in one stage, when 4 stages prior we've only got 290,000. So, but this is a little bit longer of a stage, so should be able to do it. But yeah, look at how much faster these bullets are moving now that we've been in boost mode for such a long time. Probably going to be focusing quite a bit, so apologies if commentary is a little lacking. But now that we're on the last stage, maybe I'll run through it now before we get too far. So how these games work to beat them is there's generally some stipulation for beating either the last stage or the last boss without using a continue. So you have to get through all the other stages that we've done so far. And I'm talking, so I already lost. Got off the light. But you have to beat the stage, or beat the boss, or beat the stage and beat the boss without using a continue. And then there's a super boss at the end. So to truly beat the game, you have to do all of that. But then if you're score hunting, if you're one that likes to play like that, you have to basically clear the whole game without using a continue, because once you use a continue, your score count resets to 0. So my best score is just shy of 2 billion points. And that's, I played much better in that one than I'm playing right now. So we've got 20 minutes on our boost count. So that's pretty good. But the highest I've ever managed to push that is almost 23 minutes. And I don't know if there's still 3 minutes left of this stage. And I do anticipate having probably a couple more bombs just to make sure that we maintain a life count to get to the true last boss. There's a couple more parts of this stage that get pretty overwhelming. But this is what I mean where it gets to be just a cluster, so you need to save up your bullets on the screen and then blow up these big enemies like that to get your star count point hunt. But we're not score hunting, we're just clearing the game. So that's the big difference between the way I play these and some people that just dedicate themselves to playing shmups. I don't really score hunt. I mean, I try to figure out some of it to get lives and stuff, but my goal is to just beat the game. So figuring out the mechanics helps, because every one of these types of games, they generally play just a little bit different. Some of them have like skills, barriers, parries, and bleeding lives. But they have sorts of little tricks and things like that to help you manage the game. And then some of them are just brutally difficult. It's just on your merit of how good you are at dodging and avoiding bullets. Either you will or you won't. But I like games like this that have a little bit of things that work in the player's favor. Don't want to have to use any continues at all. I'm hoping that we'll be able to make it through to the last boss and beat it without using a continue. So now we're getting towards the last gauntlet. There's still a chance we can get one more life from points. But we still got another 80,000 stars to go. Nice, Nice, we got through that guy real fast. Just mainly watching out for when he starts to do bullet patterns. You stay on one side because he starts shooting pretty quick and they start tracking your location. You want to move just a little bit because otherwise the last one moves almost too fast to get out of the way of. Since it's a spread shot that's constantly tracking your location, you leave yourself in a position to not be able to dodge it. So we can manage, I think, to keep our boost or break mode active throughout this whole section. I think we'll get our last life, but I'm not... this place gets real rough. So beams start coming in, you got all the little enemies shooting stuff at you, just kind of isolating you to these small corners. So you have to figure out where the little guys are coming from and kind of sit in that spot to take them out before they get on screen and start overwhelming you. But at the same time, you got to take out the big thing here so that the beams don't get you. Try to find your little openings to snake between these bullets. But yeah, these are the ones, the little tanks. Once you get your spot open, you got to watch out for the other side. But you always want to leave yourself the most screen space to move that you can allow yourself. Try not to let yourself get trapped. Because the better you can stay towards the bottom of the screen, the more time you'll generally have to control the patterns that are coming your way. Alright, so we got through the gauntlet. 26,000 more stars to go to get another life. And we have 4 lives to deal with bosses. So we have to get through this boss. And then there's one after that. Assuming we don't continue. So these guys are going to be shooting pretty quick. So the main idea is to try to just keep inching yourself back and forth. Because once they get grouped up pretty substantially, then they start shooting quite a bit. So if I move too fast, they'll box me in. So my goal is just to constantly leave myself a little bit of room to weave. Alright, I might use a bomb on this guy pretty early because his pattern gets pretty ridiculous. Got through there. Nice. Oh, sweet. We got through that. Keeping break going. Oh, yes. Now we got to kind of hug up to him here. He's going to pinch us in just a little bit. Don't get too close. Nice. There's our extra life. Almost. Almost. Oh, are we gonna perfect this boss? This last part is real easy. He's just gonna start dropping in on me. So you get to the side of the screen and then you just kind of hug next to him so he doesn't go too fast. Under him. Yep, we got this. Nice, then I got 5 lives for the last boss. There we go. Because yeah, I cannot get any more lives from stars, so I got 5 lives to get through this. And we're really racking up that boost timer. I'm going to get up there quick. I want those 50,000 stars before he comes in. Alright, I need to be willing to use my bombs here. So I want to try and see if I can do this boss without losing any lives. So that would be cool. It'd be a first time for me. Alright, phase 1. Still no lives lost. focus. Hyper focus. Hyper focus. Bomb. And we took him out without losing one life. Hell yeah. I think I beat my high score because of that. I just wait for this long, drawn-out explosion. Dang, yeah, 29 and a half minutes on the break timer. That's a lot for me. I normally do like 23 or 24. But perfect last boss. Let's see, do I beat my high score? Oh, it's gonna be close. Yay, I did. I didn't get 2 billion yet, but I did beat it. Awesome. But yeah, that's Crimson Clover, World Explosion. I might try to play some more shoot 'em ups just because they are easier to put out these videos like this. Just one short little kind of hour segment or half hour, whatever they take. But there's a lot more to do in this game, like if you pick it up for yourself, because there's multiple ships to play, multiple game modes to play. So if this is your type of game, you want to pursue the challenge, I can't recommend games like this enough, just because they're a nice change of pace. You don't have to sit and like grind and play for months and months and months to just endlessly play a game. You just throw it in, clear a couple stages, get a little better, then clear 3, then clear 4. I just love this type of game. It's just nice pick up and play. We'll skip past that. And the other thing that's kind of cool is you can put in and save replays usually in most of these games. So if you have a really good game, you can save your replays. So because that was the old one that I had saved, so now we'll overwrite this one. There we go. Nice. But here's some of my other, like when I played on original mode and got an all clear. Look at that score. 382 billion. So that's the difference between playing on original mode and boost mode or arranged, you know, because the game modes vary so much. There's all sorts of different things that you can play through with these. And some of them have nice intricate stories in them or upgrade mechanics. Like I still want to keep working on a different game called Danmaku Unlimited 3 because there's tons of challenges to unlock new weapons and things, but as hard as I claimed this game to be, Danmaku is like 2 or 3 steps up. It's quite a bit harder than this one. But what I want to show off for this, we're going to go to arcade and we're going to do this time attack one quick. This is 3 minutes. So you have unlimited lives, but this will show you what the difficulty of this game can actually be in short bursts. So we're going to give this one a shot real quick, and then after that we'll wrap up the video. But usually all these ships, they have different builds or setups. This is kind of a just generic, just your standard kind of all-arounder, speed and attack width. So the one that has attack width changing like this, it's got options that follow you, so they move depending on you. And this is a fast and narrow ship, but I like to use the one that I unlocked for beating the game on arrange mode. So here we go. This is when it's going to be actually difficult from the get-go. The whole goal for this is to try to actually score my 2s. It's just time attack. knew I should have broke there. Alright, well, we got through it. We had 1.65 seconds on the timer left to spare. But I didn't score hunt very well. I was just focusing on clearing this, so my rank is probably going to be pretty low. But to get like an S rank, I have no idea how well you have to play. But I usually get like a C or a C plus when I play, but this score is pretty low, so I probably won't even get that. Okay, so I did. I got my typical score, but I'm sure you can score more than 1,000,000 points in this mode. I'm just not that good at score hunting to do it, but that was substantially more difficult than all of that we played before, so. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned, because I'm most likely going to be starting, I think, Crash Bandicoot first. Spyro is a little more open worldy, takes a little bit longer to get through, so I think we're going to focus on Crash 3. We'll see you in that video. You take care, and hope you're having a wonderful summer. Adios.